war.
Well, even World War
So it's interesting to me that. That.
in World War II, we had conscientious objectors over in Holiness School. So they came to the Plymouth Library sometimes, the college library. Well, anyway,
So when did you meet him? You remember before he went to the service?
yeah, it's summer before I went in.
Mm-hmm.
Was that summer? Yeah. Because, well, there's always been this family in town, but I didn't know them because I went to Lime Senator School and Dick went to Lime School.
Mm.
And you didn't hobnob with different schools like you know, people didn't travel like they do now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, I think I met him the first time over at Plymouth State. He came over with a group from Hannibal High School. To do something with the team. I don't know what team was on.
Hmm. He came over with the high school?
High school group. Was that a high school group? No, it couldn't have been that. I don't know how I happened to meet him over there. Unless Polly Push is his cousin. And Pauline knew right off, and I was with Pauline. And it was about this time I had really met Dick.
Hmm. I thought I had heard that there was some dance that you attended regularly. That's where you met.
Well, of course we went to lots of dances that summer before we went to service.
Went together?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The whole Model T Ford. Whenever we went Model T Ford.
I think I have a picture of him in the board.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty neat picture. Pretty neat car.
He had this dog, Buck.
That was your dog?
Yeah. And later he had Cookie.
Mm-hmm.
I always had a dog.
Cookie, his dog?
Mm-hmm.
But she stayed on the farm
Yeah.
when you moved to Washington State and then married.
Yeah.
She was still there when we moved back there and I was 8 home. Cookie
Yeah.
was a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a dog out in Washington State, Skipper. We brought Skipper all the way home from Washington State. By car. And, let's see. So he was in the service from this was 1942,
Yeah.
from 42 to 45. Fall of 45. And he went to Jeffersonburg, Missouri. He was down in Florida while he was in Gulfport, Mississippi a while. He was up on Long Island a while. And then...
Where in Long Island?
Can't tell you.
Okay. Curious. Okay.
He wasn't there too long. That was before he got shipped out.
Oh yeah.
Because when he got shipped out, he didn't know what street he was going in. Ended up in India.
He was lucky.
Mm-hmm. He was a supply sergeant, is that right?
Yeah, supply. He went to the mess hall.
That's all.
So he really was quite fortunate. He had trained to be an airplane mechanic.
That's right.
Graduated from airplane mechanic school, good marks, and what he was doing. Expected to work on airplanes.
They had other plans for him.
You know, they needed somebody in the mess hall, so that's where they put him.
Okay.
And it was an interesting job because he had to travel around quite a bit to buy supplies for the mess hall. He had a whole truck to get his vegetables and stuff that he needed for the mess hall.
Mm-hmm.
He lived with a couple of other guys, Small Nicky and Al Dunmire.
Small Nicky?
Well, I tried to remember what Small Nicky's first name must have been. That was his last name, sure. He lived out in New York. And Al Dunmire was in Ohio. As a matter of fact, the first summer after we were married, we went out to Ohio and stayed a night or two with Carl Dunmire. and then we stopped in Albany, New York, I think it was, and saw Nicky and his sister, but we didn't stay overnight there. And when he came back from service, he went to work for Dan Gibson at his car repair shop in Hanover.
Yeah.
And he was there until after we were married. And we went on a honeymoon. When we got back from the honeymoon, Gib had sold business.
Oh, jeez.
So we didn't have any job.
Ended that job.
That ended that. It was just sort of out of the blue, we know that was going to happen. And in the meantime, we had an apartment in the Gibson house. And we got the story about Sub and Colin painting the floor. We had 2 colors of paint that were supposed to mix together to paint the floor, but they made checkerboard out of it.
That was cool stuff.
Yeah, I figured the work they went to do that. And then we only lived there about, I don't know, maybe 2 months. I don't know if it was that long.
You had to pay over it when you moved out, probably.
No, we didn't do anything.
You left it right there?
Left it right there.
Okay.
Yeah. That was Gibbs bought it. Other people had bought it. The Wood family bought it. Albert Wood and was her name. She had Susan and Ann.
Oh, they bought that house first?
Yeah, that's where they lived.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't remember her name. Louise Wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do remember. She, that was 50 years ago.
So here we were. I had a job because I was going to school in London.
Mhm.
So I had summer off. And we went to New London, until Wilmington, New Hampshire, and worked for J.T. Browder at Camp Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and J.T. Browder was
Lindsay.
a counselor from Pinnacle, and he started his own camp. So he had this in Boston, Newton area come up. And there was another family, Bill Bowers, his family, worked at Camp Tabor too. And they had been, Bill had been a Pinnacle counselor. And he and his wife was in the kitchen, and I was in the kitchen. I liked that setup very good. Dick got to travel quite a lot because he'd do grocery runs, and he'd even go to Tilton, Mass sometimes with J.D. I went down lunch with him. And that's how we spent summer. Then when school started, we came back home. Dick got a job at Rich Brothers General Store. Worked for Everett and Roger Rich out in Lobster. And we rented Laura Pike's house in Long Village. And that went on for almost 2 years. Dick got sick of the store. He wanted to be outside more.
And you were teaching in London then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He taught 2 years in London.
That we had Dave as a student.
And David in the school, and had Nancy in school. Nancy was second grader. The first year I was there, and the second year I was there, David started.
So you were already married then, right?
Yeah, we were married June 46. And then after we quit working for Rich Brothers Gin Store, he went back for my father, who was a road agent, and worked on the road for a while. And we decided we'd got to see some more of the world. And that's when we got this great idea of going to Washington State. We liked the idea of Washington State because Everett Rich had been there, and he told us a lot of things about Washington State, and it kind of appealed to us. So
I never knew because Everett had been there.
he was there when he was in service. That's where he spent his time. He was a mail clerk out in Washington State. in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
No, Tacoma,
Mm-hmm.
Fort Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Tacoma area, but we went there because, well, if I want to go to Washington State, I can school out there just as well as can along. So I sent a letter to the Department of Education in State of Washington, Tacoma. I only went to Tacoma, Orlando. But wherever I went, I heard back from Superintendent Piss, I think his name was. He had a job in Gig Harbor, Washington that I have. I think it was a first grade job. So that was good. If I had a job, or did or not, he'd find something. He thought. That was a good story when we got there. It was hard to find work as a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we left here in late June, or early July. Spent some time at Cobb and Bess. They were in Ithaca at the time. And then we went on to Iowa, spent 3 weeks in Iowa. Dick worked on the farm of the Schraders for a while. Then we finally hotel out to Washington State. We rented a really nice place on Puget Sound. In the meantime, just before we left Bonn, was a call from Washington State. And the Gig Harbor job wasn't available anymore. But I could have this job in Vaughan, Washington, which is about 20 miles south of Gig Harbor. And that was a first, second, third combination, I think. It's quite different than just a straight first aid, which I was hoping for. But anyway, that was a job. And then when we got out to Washington State, after we'd rented a house, and we stayed with the Millers for a while over in Rosedale. The Miller, Ernest Miller and his wife Evelyn, were the principal of the school while I was going to teach. And that's how we happened to end up their place for a week or so before we moved the house in Vaughan. And the house in Vaughan was near enough where I could walk to school. So Dick had the car, I'd go look for work. Well, he tried the Edmonton Navy Yard, he tried different miners and places, and there was just nothing available for anybody. He ended up, well, he did a little part-time business. He picked huckleberry bush and huckleberry brush stuff that's put in flower arrangement, and they ship it all over the country. And you could pick brush, or when we first got there, you could pick huckleberries. And to pick huckleberries, this is an interesting thing to do. Because I went with Dick one morning, I wanted to see how it was done. I went with him on Saturday. You had a wash tub that you tied, had a strap on it, went around your neck, and you had this big tub, and you hung along and whacked the berries off the bush. You know, you'd think huckleberries, they're much like blueberries, only darker. And
They just fell off into the pan.
yeah. And then you took them to a station where they had them through a machine that was like a bean winnower that had a screw on it and shook all the time, and the leaves fall out and you'd have the berries left. That's quite a good business. Andy Dahl lived on the property where we were, and Andy Dahl was a nice old man, and he showed Dick how to do all these things. And we got a bunch of chickens, hens. We had some white hens and had some brown hens. So we sold white eggs and sold brown eggs. And Dick went to work at the oyster shell place, farming. And that's a dirty job, a hard job to do. He'd come home all covered in dust from oyster shells.
Shucking oysters?
I don't know just what he did with all those oyster shells. I guess it was shucking oyster shells. So he stayed there for all through that, all the time that he was working out there. But that was not very satisfactory, so we only stayed the 1 year. And we came back and went to Camp Pickle one summer. And we decided to go to Meriden. We were going to do some farming. So we went to Meriden. By this time I was pregnant, and you were born the first winter we were in Meriden. And we rented, we bought. I'm in Meriden.
Did it come with cows or did you buy those separately?
Bought those separately. And took a horse down, old Harry, his name was, that Grandpa did some kind of arrangement, because Grandpa had used some of this money when he was in service, never paid him back. So the paybacks let him have that horse. So, I don't know how many animals, cows we bought, and we had cows, we had chickens, because old eggs were there. And we made butter, milk, old time farmers, my gosh.
Who bought it? Locals would come around?
Yeah, well, we lived some,
Again?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Roger's house and
I remember that.
Stems's and, well, you were pretty small, but you weren't very old when I decided to go back to teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So
But they didn't do that for long. I remember you worked at the phone company.
yeah. Well, I was 2 years I was married
Mm-hmm.
in school. That was the first and second grade combination. And
Before Alice Hendricks took
Yeah.
it over. She was my teacher.
yeah. And then before and after Ed was born, I worked at the telephone office.
So who took care of me when you were teaching?
Oh, well, Sue came down in the winter and stayed with us and took care of you. And then Sue and Tink got married, and so we didn't have Sue anymore. So Joanne O'Donnell came down. It was Joanne Bushy.
Yeah.
And took care of the second year I was teaching. And when I went to the telephone office, they took care of you.
Because you work nights.
Yeah,
A lot of nights.
sometimes daytime, but a lot of the time I work night, go up at 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, stay until 10, 11. Hike up in the hill.
She worked in the dark. Was half a mile? Did you say half a mile?
Not anyone that.
Pitch dark. No street.
No street.
She had a trusty little flashlight.
Yeah.
But that was really good fun, because the telephone office was a private telephone company, Chelsea Telephone Company,
Yeah.
and I worked for Grammie.
The party lines.
Yes, yes. And
She could hear all the conversation all over town.
And then the interesting part was that there were 3 places right in front of the school, one study I was over down Kimberly Academy. Man, that would light up. All the Union boys would be come somewhere. So I had to connect up with White Ribbon. And they made a telephone calls. So that was a busy place when the Kimball Union boys were able to use telephone. But I remember going some mornings to go up one day, probably from 8, 12, something.
Uh-huh.
And I even went back after Ed was born to him up in a clothes basket. Slept in the telephone office. And that went on until,
58.
yeah, after
The Green died in February?
March,
March.
I think.
We moved in May.
So back and forth from Meriden to Lyme, the Grammie was really real sick.
He did?
Yeah.
How much?
Oh, he came every day or every other day, Yeah, the whole family was there a lot at the very end.
Wow.
And then Grandpa wanted to sell the horse, so and it ended up that we bought it. One more time.
Nobody else wanted it? All those 13 kids, just you guys wanted it?
Nobody else's farm.
They will.
Well, some did. The farm.
Yeah. And they could get money enough together to buy it and so forth. We borrowed from ended up borrowing money from the West River Savings Bank. So, I was going to tell you who helped us get that loan. I can't tell now.
How much did you pay for a farm in 1958?
The 20,000 seems to stick in my mind. That doesn't seem like very much money for a farm.
Lots of acres. 200?